Hey guys, Thomas Jr. here, aka Mustached. I'm here to review the animated series Yasuke. If you end up enjoying this review, then please consider joining me on Patreon page. There'll be the second link in the description below. But shilling out of the way, Yasuke follows a story of, Yasuke, who is a black warrior who served in Japan during the Sengoku Basara time frame. Now, for those who may not know what that means, or not know what that is, in ancient China, you had these warring factions, wars happening. If you've done any history on Japan, you might have heard the name Oda Nobunaga. That might have come up a few times, perhaps. It's a name that is very recognizable thanks to games like Samurai Warriors and, Sengoku Basara, and so on and so forth, Nobunaga's Ambition. So, definitely a name that is very well traversed. So, that's how I even knew about this, because I was following Samurai Warriors 5, and I saw this new character named Yasuke being introduced in Samurai Warriors 5, and I was like, he's a black character, interesting. So, then I recalled, oh yeah, they were making a animated series on Netflix based off of this character. Let me go give that a watch. So, that's what led me to watch this little series, and I mean little, and I'm here to tell you what I think of it, and try to be as objective as possible as well. So, one thing I will note is that this is animated by MAPPA, the people who took over for Attack on Titan in the later half season of Season 4. And for what it's worth, I will say that the animated choreography fighting is really well done. If you're someone who is expecting pure spectacle and pure battle and pure animation, I probably would recommend this to you. If you're looking for a good story, I probably wouldn't recommend this to you, unfortunately. With only 6 episodes, I believe this whole little thing is, the story of Yasuke is insanely rushed, which is unfortunate. I keep hearing how he did a bit more, and I'm kind of interested in learning about what that entails necessarily. But for the sake of it, I will go over what does happen. So in the show, we follow Yasuke, who's lived past the age of Oda Nobunaga. We see him, Oda Nobunaga, in this iteration, commit seppuku, which is when you stab yourself. And he asked and pleaded for Yasuke to finish him off. So Yasuke proceeds to do so as his castle is burning. So Yasuke lives through this ordeal as there's still a war faction going on, and some X amount of time passes. I'm not sure how many years, but nonetheless, Yasuke is now trying to live a simple life as a boatsman, whether that's catching fish or helping ferrying people across from location to location. And one day, as he's doing his business as per usual, this lady singer has a daughter named Soke, I believe, or Soke, I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not, I'm not entirely sure. Point being, it's the little girl you can see on the poster right next to him, the one with the darker hair. And apparently, this little girl has a magical essence about her, and this is where this takes a more fantastical approach to a pseudo-historical story. So, there's already a lot of being combined here. for those of you who may not know what pseudo history means, it's I know a little bit more about this in Dynasty Warriors. Like, for example, some of the characters may be more fictionalized, like Dio Chan, Lubu's love interest, and their daughter, for example. They're fictional characters, presumably. Or there's like certain elements that are added, like such as that, as an example. I'm not as familiar if there is that for Samurai Warriors per se, or the Sengoku Basara characters. I'm not sure. There may be a few, I don't know. Point being that there are fictional characters created to help, I guess, fill the army of a faction and give them different personalities or different stories that help just, again, flesh out a team, pretty much. But on top of that, again, as I mentioned, we also have the girl having powers, and other characters having these super mechs, and this one woman who can transform into this bear-like creature, and this priest demon dude is the best way I can describe him. I'm trying to remember if there was another character, and this other black character who can like summon like this mystical warrior character in front of him. So yeah, so these characters interact within this small time frame of the 6 episodes, and we have these mystical battles sequences happening earlier on. Anyways, so as I was mentioning, the girl is sick, and Yosuke is now tasked to essentially ferry her to the special doctor. But that means treading into territory that belongs to these individuals that I've been mentioning. And as they do, they proceed to fight one another. And the mother of the character traveled with them, so she tries to fight as well. But she's taken down in battle, which proceeds to have the little girl outrage and create this burst wave of energy, which knocks out Yosuke for a bit. And when he wakes, we see some more flashbacks. That's how they progress when he served Oda Nobunaga, what he did for Oda Nobunaga in that time frame before that thing we see at the beginning. So we see him take on the I believe he took on the Hanzo clan. I forget the actual name of it. The Ichi clan, I think it's called. I do apologize if I'm misremembering the names off the top of my head. I did not write notes for this as well. I'm trying to do better at just trying to remember things that happen. And I will say that the fight that Yosuke does proceed to have with this ninja clan is definitely the best fighting scene in the entire 6 episodes, which I find fascinating because no one in that sequence has powers. So I think that kind of goes to show that they didn't need the powers necessarily at all. So I'm not sure why they did it that way. It just comes across as a little, adding a little extra thing that I don't think was absolutely necessary, but whatever. I wouldn't say it detracts necessarily. I guess it can be distracting at worst. At any rate, as they proceed to escape, Yosuke and the girl, they end up coming across these individuals who are also training with their abilities, and again, she's claimed to be the very best among them. He reacquaints with his old friend, and they're learning more about each other, and this is already in episode 5/6, so the story is already ending, and these two have only just gotten together. They only started traveling with each other. They only just started to do a little bit of teamwork, and they're already traveling to the end sequence there. As this army is encroaching on them, they find a secret entrance that leads them into the stronghold of the daimyo, which this dark daimyo is like controlling people with dark powers to match that of the light powers. So the two get up there. Yasuke is controlled for a bit when he's up there. She proceeds to try to help him. They eventually break free. But in the process, I forget what causes Yasuke to quote-unquote die, because we see him clearly with a blast hole in his stomach. But the girl magically heals him with the magic of tears. Which is kind of, I don't know, I feel like that kind of makes the whole point of that pointless. The whole him dying aspect. I'm not sure why they didn't just have him die heroically. I think that would have made, and again, maybe this is trying to allude to something about how long he served in real life. I'm not sure. But yeah, it is a little bit confusing in terms of just watching it independently without the knowledge. And of course, as I mentioned, it is insanely rushed. There's this boy character who we briefly meet in episode 2, I believe, and the only time we see him is at the end. He was like his friend, the little girl and him were friends. That is the basis, but she had the powers, so she was terrified of getting exposed at that point. So she left him behind, and we don't really see him until the end of the show. So not much really going on there either. So ultimately, while the action and animation are solid, the pacing is terrible. The writing is poor between these two. They seem to be skipping like all the development that you would properly need to have any of these payoffs make any sense or feel like they should make sense. They feel rushed. They feel incomplete. They feel really bad and unearned, which is not good. So again, if you are not into animation or good fighting scenes, I can't recommend this show to you. And again, I don't even know how historically accurate it is either, because again, I'm not too familiar with this particular character, so I can't tell you how accurate it is, unfortunately. But from a pure show standpoint, from a storyboarding or just story standpoint, the best I can probably give this is like a 4 out of 10, which is really rough. I was expecting a lot more from this. I was expecting it to be a little bit longer for them to explore their dynamic. They had a lot of potential too, and they just skimmed through it all. Like oh, we're just gonna finish 6 episodes. Gotta kill the daimyo. It's like, you didn't have to do that, but okay. So yeah, that's it. That's as best as I can tell you, and this is going to be one of my shorter reviews because there's not really much else to talk about. There are, again, the other characters, but they really don't do too much. They run interference the first time, and some of them end up joining him at the end. That's as far as I can tell you in terms of that. So yeah, not much going on there either. Again, 4 out of 10 is the highest I think I would give it. Again, from a pure writing standpoint, I probably even go a little bit lower. This is not good in terms of story. But if you ended up enjoying this review, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, make sure to check out those links in the description. One will head over to my Discord server. The second will lead you over to my Patreon page. Any donations are desperately needed. And until next time, everyone, bye-bye.